Well, hey everybody, it's Paul. Welcome to my car. It's kind of like a little impromptu video. I wasn't planning on doing one, but I usually keep my camera around. We went around and the sun's starting to set already. It's getting late. We got this new time change. It's the fast time now, so the days stay longer and it's takes a little getting used to it, right? It's probably takes me 2-3 days before I feel 100% back, like the light of the day matches the time that it's supposed to be. But we went around doing one of our cheap entertainment things that we seen. It's one of those things that we all kind of like. Ben likes and Sis, of course, likes. And I've kind of been getting into it a little bit too. And I'm not a big buyer. They buy more than I do. Well, I don't buy anything really, but they like to. I like to look. And I'm talking about going antiquing. That's what we call it. Although a lot of the shops that we go to, a lot of the stuff's not true antiques, not true 100 years old, but it is vintage. And I guess vintage stuff really is selling nowadays. People love vintage stuff. It's like all the baby boomers, and as they get older, it's, fun to, like, I don't know if you're trying to recreate your childhood or you just seen stuff that you remember from childhood, so you buy that, but it's fun. It's a good time. So you go in there and you see all these items, but to me it's frustrating. I mean, it's cool to see the items, but I get mad at myself because I'm like, wait a minute, they're getting how much for that? I had that. I threw that in the trash, or I gave that away, or I had a bunch of those. I never thought it'd be worth anything, and just so many things. I mean, a lot of stuff I still got, a lot of stuff I'm using. It's like they're selling vintage oil cans. I've still got oil in them and using, I got them downstairs on my shelf. So it's interesting, the different tools, and what some stuff you think would bring a lot doesn't. Other stuff, is more collectible for whatever reason. I've got old gas cans, I've got oil cans, I've got old wheel covers, you name it. I got a bunch of stuff, like old tools. They sell everything. They sell old planers, when you're planing the side of a door. They sell any kind of an old tool. They sell any variety of stuff, like old Christmas stuff. And I'm just so angry at myself because, like, a lot of that vintage stuff I inherited. But the problem is it takes up so much room to keep the stuff. And I didn't know, like, a lot of that was like before there was eBay, so it wasn't easy to see what something, if it's collectible or if it's just junk, so it's like I gave a lot of stuff that ended up being, worth money to like Salvation Army or Goodwill. But it's kind of cool to go through there and just see the different things that you had growing up. So many, like, cracker boxes. I mean, saltine cracker tins, the tins, and some of the old, just some cartons and coffee cans and mason jar and this and then. It's so many of these things. Like, I went in there and they had my the kitchen table that we used to have in a house that we bought. It came with the house, a very vintage look. Well, they had it there. And it's like all these things you hadn't thought about or hadn't seen in ages. All of a sudden, it's like, oh my God, I remember I had that, So it's like deja vu, nostalgia, trip down memory lane from this and that. And, all it takes is one thing to remind you of another and another and another. Like, I remember, like, the guy had, like, these plastic baseball helmets, and I remember Kmart's, they used to sell Sundays in them. You'd get a Detroit Tigers little tiny baseball helmet, and they would sell ice cream sundae in it, and they had a spinner board, and, like, I don't know, say it cost $1, so that was on there. and then it was all just various prices under $1, so you'd spin it, and you might have to pay the dollar, but a lot of times, it'd be anywhere from maybe 10 cents to on up to $1. So there are so many, just little things like that starts all these thoughts about just the good old days, and how much stuff that you have throughout your life and that you end up just giving away, disposing of, binning it, losing track of it. There's so many things that I can't remember ever actually throwing out or what I did with it, but I'm pretty sure I don't have it now. But I remember having it, but I don't have a memory of letting it go or whatever. So it's cool. It's cheap. Usually you can find some stuff if you want to, like Ben always seems to find something that he wants, and my daughter too. So she likes to get different furniture and then kind of paint in, shabby chic it or whatever. She does different things with it. But some of that stuff is just cool, and then you can use it for different art. Like I notice gauges go for a lot of money because I know people make like steampunk kind of art stuff out of it, so the vintage big gauges and things like that. You would think who in their right mind would want that, but there's people that'll put it to good use and make some cool art. So it's a fun way to go. So it was a pretty good day. I just wanted to check in and say hey to everybody and say, do you guys like going antiquing? Do you guys see, is anybody like an old guy like me that you can remember having some of that stuff, so much of it? I mean, I would be wealthy if I just held on to everything. If I held on to everything I ever had, and then been able to store it and then sell it, I would have done all right. But I had no idea, I wish somebody had told me. I would have done it. So anyways, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. We actually had a pretty warm day here. It's been the first decent spring kind of day. So thanks so much for tuning in. Always makes my day, you guys, spend a few minutes with me, and I think it's awesome. So until next time, we'll see you.